Good afternoon. My name is Lynn Freed. I'm the Regional Director for Workforce Development Institute for the Rochester-Genesee Valley. My colleague Bob Trowski explained what WDI was, so I'm not going to repeat that. Okay. Part of what WDI is tasked to is to look for and seek successful models, support them, but also how do we take them and bring them to New York State. And we saw an opportunity here with this model based on its high success rate, not only in the training outcomes, the training to employment program, and the high retention rate that they were also seeing in individuals that completed the program, were employed, and are remaining employed in the field that they've been trained in. So we were interested in that. So I've got a couple of examples of how this model has been taken to a couple other regions in the state. I'll start with the southern tier, who started a couple of years ago, and WDI shared the basic best principles and core concepts of the training program with them. And there was probably 4 or 5 employers that started together in that group, and they quickly assessed that their biggest challenge was they did not have the resources. So as Scott mentioned, it's been a few years later, they've got over $1 million invested into the program. Some employers don't have that resource bandwidth. WDI can assist, but certainly not at that level either. So they came together and decided and figured out a way to take the basic concept program, partnered with the local BOCES in the area, partnered with the local workforce office, because every partner brings a piece to leveraging resources and how this is going to manage. And they shared the lab hands-on portion of that. So BOCES took care of the classroom instruction time, and the employers shared what that looks like. Last year, their first year out, they graduated 6 graduates, and just May 12th of this year, they graduated 5 more, and those have all been employed into the field. It's always a process of continuous improvement. This model was a little bit of a one-off because it wasn't specifically held by one employer. So they had to figure out and manage how they were going to do that. And I think it takes a tremendous amount of goodwill between sometimes what are competitive employers looking for the same workforce to sit down and do that and realize there's a greater problem and a greater issue. Another example is probably also a couple years ago, ITT Gould's Pumps is literally about 15, maybe 20 minutes away from Clifton Springs where GW Lisk is. And they saw this great program running next door to them, and they wanted to know if they could get in on that. So again, going kind of back to that collaborative process, to how do you take 2 large international companies and figure out the dynamics of demand-driven, what's enough, what's too much, and they will tell you that there's still a need for many, many more. But then with the partner of the community college in that instance, how do you manage having 2 programs? And ultimately what they decided was that it was best to keep one program, which built a spring enrollment time and a fall enrollment time. So the pipeline for that specific program strengthened by a little bit different model and how it expanded naturally. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Most important question, what musical instrument do you play?
It's no real, just a musical background.
So again, in working...
And I don't play one, thank you.
I can add a little bit to that. In working with partners, FLCC, the community college, has a music recording degree program. Very, very popular. But what they were seeing is the graduates out of that program were not going out and getting careers in the music industry because of the competitive nature. What the manufacturing industry found was that part of how the brain works in music, in cadence of listening to a musical, I'm not going to use any of the right words because I have no music background, but the cadence of music when you're playing music, the timing of it. Machinists will tell you it is similar to the cadence of a machine, and if a machine is performing correctly or not, and just some of the process of reading and managing that has some similarities. So the college, in working with employers, said to have had employers come in to speak to the music students to say, geez, we want you to live your dream, but while you're working in your garage on your band, okay, maybe there's an opportunity for you to get a daytime job, a full-time job, have a career, have a lifestyle, and do what you love in some way, shape, or form.
Mr. Cummings, did DOL give you any indication on why your application wasn't approved?
I'm a little vague on this, but our training coordinator, who's the head of this program, I guess I'm the head, but he's my right-hand man when it comes to this program. He applied. He called the DOL, and no, I didn't get a reason. I don't have a good reason. We had previously an apprenticeship program at GW Lisk quite a few years ago. But we're very familiar with the process. I've been through the process, so I'm extremely familiar with the process. And what we'd like to do is some of the graduates that graduate from this program, we hire them, and we'd like to continue that into an apprenticeship. They got 150 hours of all the skills that would require as part of their apprenticeship requirement. We want to take those 500 hours. We want to take those 500 hours and matriculate that into the apprenticeship, so it doesn't take as long. Because I'll be honest with you, 4 years is a long time to wait to get to get a machinist when we're really strapped for quality machinists right now. But they're in the process of learning, and we're going through the exercise of creating those journeyman machinists, but they don't have the papers. That's just really the nuts and bolts of it.
Okay. And what is, if you can just quantify for us, and if you can't, that's fine, but the demand, machinists, that industry, it keeps coming up over and over again that we need more machinists.
I have one word: profound. It's a profound demand. We partner with all the local companies, some are vendors, some of them are not. ITT Ghouls hired some of our first trainees out of our graduates out of our program. We've hired people out of their program. Everyone around, we get calls all year long. When are you going to have some more graduates? When are you going to have some more graduates? It's a constant demand. We can't even begin to, I could use 20 machinists right now today. And we just had a graduation in March, and we hired 8 of the 13 candidates. We hired 8 of them ourselves.
So the demand is increased. I mean, you mentioned that your workers are aging out. So
I'm sorry?
You mentioned that your workers are aging out. So that's more of a long-term or in the future issue. What's creating such a demand currently? Is it just the workload? You just have more and more?
Our work, well, we're a vertically integrated company, so we do all of our own I say we don't do all of it, we job out millions actually, but we do much of our own machining internally, and it's just it's a starvation. And we've pretty much come up with a ethics agreement within local companies not to try to steal from one another.
Okay.
And that's important. I had a recent call from one of our subsidiaries. A supplier said, hey, you own this other company, and they're trying to hire one of my best guys from me. I said, okay, I'll take care of it. Stop. I mean, it's that type of relationship that we have locally in probably a 3-county area that we don't try to take from, because it just gets into a bidding war, then whoever pays the highest dollar is going to, get it. We want to have it more structured, and we create a supply. We're trying to help not only ourselves, obviously, but other companies around us.
Great. Thank you very much, both of you.
Yep.
Last one on the witness list, we have Marcia Corner, Vice President of Operations, Harry's Ice Cream. Did you bring samples?
Good afternoon. Well,
The best for last.
that's what I was just told. Bob just hit me, tapped me. He says, okay, you're up. Oh, I just got used to sitting here. Anyway, so I'm Marcia Kerner, Vice President of Operations at Perry's Ice Cream. And I'm here to talk to you about Grow Your Own. It's a program that we've developed in Western New York. Perry's was not the only the participating company in the development of the program. We did have some help. But first, before I talk about that, I do want to talk about why we felt that we needed to develop a new type of program as opposed to the apprenticeship program. Back in 2003, 2006, We, meaning Perry's Ice Cream, we were very short of maintenance technicians. And we were having a very hard time trying to find anybody locally to hire into the positions, specifically with ammonia experience. We looked at broadening the pool by considering other team members within the facility outside of the maintenance department, and worked with the UAW national reps to utilize their federal government Department of Labor approved program as a template. That went on for 6 to 9 months, so that part of it moved right along. We then submitted that program for New York State Department of Labor approval and eventually got it. We did get approval. However, there were some challenges associated with the apprenticeship program. We could not always provide on-the-job training to match up with the classes. Okay? We only had one maintenance technician at the time that possessed a journeyman's card, and you had to have somebody with a journeyman's card had to sign off on the blue book. 8,000 hours to complete the program. Much too long for us. 4 years, and we needed the demand then. And supervision had to ensure the program was administered properly, and since we didn't have the journeyman, we couldn't have anybody to sign off on the card. So we just decided, no, we can't do this. We did find eventually 1 or 2 guys to hire in from the outside. Again, we had to keep going to the outside. But the problem didn't go away. Overall, throughout the state of New York, and it's not just New York's problem, it's nationwide. And you've heard it time and time again, and you're already aware of it, but there is a lack of skilled trades. Our school system doesn't promote it at all. I was talking to a couple of teachers the other day about this topic, and they were saying, well, we warned them not to take BOCES out of our school systems. We warned them that we need the skilled trades. So even the teachers know and support the BOCES and skilled trades education, but for whatever reason, it's just not promoted to the students. Everybody wants to go to college. So the pool of available candidates, meaning minimum requirements, meaning a combination of knowledge and experience, it continues to dwindle, so the problem's not going away. Just like the previous person, food and dairy processors are competing for the skilled trades, and we steal from each other. So there's all these things that are adding up, and finally we just said, enough is enough. Right now at Perry's Ice Cream, I'm going to talk personally right now, we have openings due to either anticipated retirements or guys that we know are going to start working for themselves. We currently have 18 maintenance technicians. I really only need 16, but because it takes us so long to recruit somebody, to find somebody that has the knowledge and experience, I actually am keeping 2 people on staff in anticipation of either separations or retirements. Right now, we have 3 eligible maintenance technicians that can retire in 5 years, should they decide to do so at the age of 62. If the team members wait until until they're 65, in 10 years, 8 of them will be eligible to retire. And let's not forget, I have electronical controls technicians, in which one of them is going to retire. So I've got a staff that we've got people getting to the retirement age, and we really don't have a good way to fill those positions. It takes us a long time to fill a position. We average between 9 months and a year. This past summer, we utilized 5 recruiters in addition to our website to fill positions. I needed a maintenance supervisor, I needed 2 maintenance technicians, and an engineering control specialist. What that meant was that instead of helping us focus on improving our processes in the facility, my material reliability supervisor and the maintenance engineering manager ended up traveling to military job fairs, just hoping to find somebody that's qualified to come and work for us, without any luck. So then we began talking about, well, why don't we start something internally? Let's give the people that we know that are working for us right now the opportunity to bid outside of the department into the maintenance department. They don't have the experience, but they'll have some knowledge of the operation, and we know what their work performance is like, and we know what their work ethic is like, which means a lot. So in August, Mike Liberta from WDI happened to be in our facility, and I started sharing some of my frustrations with him, and that we were talking about developing some type of quasi-apprenticeship program, but we were calling it Grow Your Own because the people were going to be coming from within our facility. He suggested that we get together with some other manufacturers in the area. So in September, we had 15 Western New York dairy and food processors meet at Perry's Ice Cream. I also invited ECC as well as CNC Technical Solutions, which is where all the electrical training will be conducted, and WDI. At that meeting, we brainstormed basic skills for the different trades. We brainstormed a syllabus, and we identified potential resources that might be available. A sub-team was chartered that comprised of subject matter experts from industry, academia, and WDI, and we were charged to develop the program for employees who possess the attitude and aptitude to fill maintenance technicians. The sub-team met 6 times between October and April, and these are the following are the outcomes. We developed a program. Along with developing the program, we also developed the selection process and syllabus to ensure success. Key word is ensuring success. We will have adult learners, folks that haven't been to school in several years, most likely. And so we wanted to give them the background knowledge to be able to be successful when they went through the electrical, refrigeration, and mechanical tracks. So we decided to give them an aptitude test. That test lasts between 7 and 8 hours as part of the selection process. The aptitude test will identify whether or not those individuals have the ability to become a maintenance technician, and they'll identify the track that they'll be most successful in. There are 4 sections to the test. There's verbal reasoning for troubleshooting skills, numerical reasoning for math sequences, logical problem solving, mechanical reasoning for electrical and thermal, that's your refrigeration folks, space relationship for blueprint reading skills. And that the idea is that those test results would be one of the factors on the selection process of the candidates. Of course, you also want to have the interpersonal skills and then their resume itself. So those core courses that all of the students will have to take prior to entering their track will cover math, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, physics 1 and 2. I say God bless them for that. I hated physics when I took it. But physics is very good for relating to electrical, mechanical, thermal, and fluid power. They also will have blueprint reading and the fundamentals of electricity. That's a total of 316 hours just in core classes. Now it's time for them to enter into the track. There are 3 tracks: electrical, refrigeration, and mechanical. The electrical has classes specifically for electricity, 212 hours altogether for that. Refrigeration, we're more concerned about the ammonia overall as dairy and food processors, but others also need to have the air conditioning, HVAC as well, and that'll be 228 hours. And then mechanical actually has the longest track, and that's 256 hours. And some of that might be going back to machining, as the previous individual talked about. There are other courses that some of the industry wanted, but not all of us really needed them just because of the requirements for the maintenance technicians in each respective employer. So other courses that would be offered or could be offered are welding, pipe fitting, and machine shop courses. The courses are non-credit because they are going to be designed for adult learning. And again, we're not there to give anybody a degree. We're trying to develop people that can replace the folks that are going to be retiring or leaving. The classes would be taught either at CNC Technical Solutions, that's the electrical courses, and that's in Medina, New York, and then ECC and the Buffalo Ammonia Operator 1 and 2 courses will be taught in the area. We really haven't determined the final place for a lot of the classes outside of electrical, because depending upon what manufacturers the students will be coming from. If they're primarily from southwestern New York, then the classes would be held there. If they're coming from central western New York, whatever. But we'll determine a location for the classes once we find out where all of the students are coming from. As far as costs and financial support and commitment, within the packets that I gave you, you have a copy of the Excel spreadsheet. But just quickly here, per student for a class of, if there's only 4 people that are going to enroll in the class, which you do not anticipate that, then you're looking at $13,500 per student. A class of 8 drastically cuts down the cost to $3,500. The Workforce Development Institute has been working closely with us, and they have offered support. Every company that does participate has to submit an application by August 5th. And they have suggested they will be supporting us with $3,500 per student, provided the students achieve passing grades. And each year, we will reevaluate. So this isn't a one-year process. We do anticipate it going on for several years into the future because the demand is not being met outside of our companies. So of the 15 companies that did express interest early on in September, we have 8 companies left. And we know that we would prefer to have more, because the more companies that participate, the increased number of students, of course, our cost will be reduced. And these are all going to be primarily supported, even though WDI is helping us, by the companies. Because if you think about it, we have to have an extra person. For every student, I have to have an extra person because they'll be shadowing that mechanic. So it's a 2-for-1 kind of deal. So we will be having extra people on the payroll, plus I have to backfill wherever those students came from. So if they're an ice cream freezer operator today and they decide that they want to be a maintenance mechanic, well, then I've got to backfill that machine operator. So we are reaching out to other companies in Western New York. Sad to say that we have a couple of primarily refrigeration companies that are really having a tough time, and they focus, their primary focus is ammonia. They're having a hard time finding people. And so they're expressing interest in participating in this as well. And consortium members will receive preference over others. So going over the timeline, again, we first started meeting, we had our first meeting in September, so we've moved pretty quickly. By June 17th, the companies will need to review the program, and they'll have to have a commitment back to us. On June 17th through July 1st, the companies need to identify the participants for testing to take the aptitude test. The aptitude test will be given more than once because you can't just have one day. We don't know if all the students will be able to make it that day. So the testing for the skills testing will be July 5th through July 20th. On July 27th, the aptitude test results will be available. July 27th through August 5th, the companies will select the participants. August 15th, the fall schedule will be completed, so we'll have our locations identified by then. And in mid-September, we plan on starting the training. So we're very excited about this. I am thrilled about this because there's nothing more frustrating to me anyway to know that you've got jobs open in your facility, good paying jobs, but you just can't find anybody. And knowing that our educational system, guidance counselors, parents, they just are not supportive of the skilled trades job career, something that people are going to keep living, so we're going to need machines, and somebody's got to repair them. So I really look forward to this program starting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions?
I just have a couple of questions. First of all, when you said it took you 9 months to a year to fill some positions, did you have applicants submit applications and they weren't qualified? Did you not get applications? Was it a mixture of both?
It was a mixture of both.
Okay.
Sometimes we might have 1 or 2 applicants. A lot of times the applicants wouldn't have the experience. We do require 3 years of experience. So if you're going to come and work for us, we especially expect you to be able to contribute. After the first 120 days, we give them 120 days, excuse me, to acclimate to our facility, because if you worked in a cheese plant yesterday, ice cream, very different from cheese.
So the applicants had to have 3 years' experience. So you're not looking for folks coming right out of high school. You're looking for folks who have some degree of experience in food processing ahead of time.
Correct, which is why the Grow Your Own made a lot of sense for us, and for the other dairy and food companies in the area, it made sense for them too, because we need to have that experience. And with the Grow Your Own, they would at least already have had the experience. I go back to the ice cream operator example, in that we have one individual that is very excited about, boy,
Have some water.
dry throat. She's very excited about this program. She's been wanting to become a maintenance technician for a few years now. Couldn't do it because she did not have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so with this, she has a very good experience, and she's mechanically inclined on those freezers and on the filling machines as well. But she doesn't have the background knowledge. She doesn't know the why of things. And so even though she's a good operator, she doesn't know how to repair things, and she doesn't know the reasons why to the degree that she would need to. So for us, this program will take 2 years. So even though it is an expense, that's 2 years, and then they'll gain the experience from the classes and the on-the-job experience, because they will be attending classes 1 day a week, and then the other 4 days of the week, they will be gaining experience.
Okay. Just quick questions about the cost. You said $13,500 per student total cost, and WDI is going to give scholarships or something that is going to be $3,500 to offset, assuming the student passes. The companies pick up the balance, or the
Right now, yes, the companies will have to pick up the balance unless there's some type of grants available. But right now, the companies are expecting to pick up the balance.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're doing that so you're moving employees where you need them, and also helping them to hopefully climb the ladder, if you will. Good program. I like the idea. Would like to stay in communications with you. I've talked to another organization that's doing something very similar. They have young custodial workers who have been there for a number of years. Their mechanical folks, their maintenance folks, are aging out. So what they're doing is they want to set up a job training program. They'll hire from within so that they can move those custodial workers into the maintenance and mechanical work, and then bring new workers, first-time workers, into the custodial position. So
yes,
very similar concept. So hopefully we can stay in touch, and thank you so much for your testimony.
You're welcome. The one thing when you were talking about $13,500, I ended up hiring just recently a maintenance technician through a headhunter, a recruiter, $9,500 finder's fee.
Yeah.
So if you just have to put it in perspective, yes, $13,500 is a lot, and that was if we didn't get enough students. We anticipate getting enough students, but when I have to start paying that kind of finder's fee for a maintenance technician, that's just unacceptable.
Money better spent.
Yes, it does.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public hearing, and I thank all participants for your testimony this afternoon.
I also want to thank all the participants for testifying today, and I also want to thank Chairperson Titus for joining in this and having this important discussion. So thank you.